All right, taking a look at page 2. So the function f of x, which is that function, is shown below. Use the graph to find all the solutions to the function. This is not a calculator question. So how many zeros, real and imaginary, does this function have? This is just based off of the function. So fourth is the highest degree. That means it must have 4 zeros, both real and imaginary. It says find all the zeros. Hint, use the graph to start. So this graph shows us that we for sure cross at -2. So we're going to take -2 and we're going to divide that function by it. So that's 3, 5, 25, 45, -18. So that's 3, drop it. You always drop the first term down. So 3, -2 times 3 is -6. 5 and -6 is -1, +2, +27. That's going to be -54, which would make -9, which would make +18, which makes 0. So then that's 3x cubed minus x squared plus 27x minus 9. Remember, remainder, constant, x squared, x cubed. From here you have options. You can always look at this and say, does it factor by grouping? In this case, this equation does, right? You pull out an x squared from the front, you get 3x minus 1. You pull out a 9 from the back, you get 3x minus 1. Okay, so it does factor by grouping. But we also have another 0 right here. That 0 looks like it's about 1/3, right? So you could actually do synthetic division with this equation with 1/3. As you can see, 1/3 does come out, okay, so it would work just fine. If you want to see that synthetic division with 1/3, I actually do it on the key, so check that key out that's posted. I'm going to continue from here, though. We have x squared plus 9 multiplied by 3x minus 1, okay? And then we also have that x plus 2 that we started with. That's our last factor, right? So these are all the factors. We could then solve for all the x's. This is x equals 1/3. This is x equals -2. All right, this last one is going to be imaginary numbers. So we have x squared plus 9 is equal to 0. That's x squared equals -9. Square root both sides. That's x equals plus or minus I square root 9. Pull out that negative. Reduce it a little bit more to get plus or minus 3i. So our zeros are 1/3, -2, and plus or minus 3i. Okay, this next one says graph the function your calculator, sorry, it should say in your calculator, and identify its key characteristics. All right. On the test, you're not going to have a graphing calculator. We would graph this for you. We would label all of the really important parts. We would label the x-intercepts. We would label the maxes and mins. We would, I think that's it that we would label. We wouldn't need to label the y-intercepts. So just x-intercepts, maxes, and mins. So if you graph this, it's going to look like this, roughly. What you need to start this question is the relative maxes and mins. So the relative maximum is going to be right here. It's at -4, 7. So then we would put that, -4, 7. The relative minimum is right down here. It's -1.333, -2.481. And then that's what we would put in the relative minimum category. You can also talk end behavior with this graph, right? So as x goes to positive infinity, or to the right, f of x is going to positive infinity. As x goes to negative infinity, or to the left, the y's, or f of x, is going down to, negative infinity. And then lastly, we need to talk about where is it increasing, where is it decreasing. So increasing is whenever the graph is going in an upward direction. So in this case, it's increasing from negative infinity all the way to -4. You always use the x values here. Then we would union that because there's another section where it's increasing, right? In this case, it's increasing from -1.333 all the way to positive infinity. And I'm specifically talking about the x positive infinity. And then this one is the x negative infinity. We're not talking about the y values. You always write these as x values. There's only one spot where it's decreasing, and that's between -4 and -1.333, right? So this little section right here. And that's exactly how you would do that question. All right, and that is the end of page 2.